All
Yeah.
right. All right, I'll do that part one more time. All right, so if you are helping, it's recording, right? Yeah, there you go. Okay. If you're helping somebody register for classes, then you want to start at the college website. It starts with, like, American River College will be arc.lowstudios.edu. All of the college websites, they look very similar. So if we go to Folsom, folc.lowstudios.edu, it'll look just about the same with the same buttons on the top and here. I'm going to stay with ARC because the majority of our students are going to American River College. All right, so we want to start with at the top of the page where it says student login and then e-services. E-services is the system that Los Rios uses to register for classes. So once you're at this page, if you have a student who just did their CC Apply application, they got an email back with their Los Rios ID number, so that's W with the number, then they probably haven't seen this page before and they first need to set up their password. So if you have a student like that, first you'll do forgot password. And then it gives you options. So create a new password is what you want to do if you have a student who's just starting. They'll go through the steps of putting W, their ID number, what are that text image from above, continue. It will ask their security questions from their CC Apply application. So if you are the one helping them with the CC Apply application, then have them take a picture, write down their answers to the security questions because they will need them. A lot of the time students will forget to do that, and then they have to go through the steps of how to figure out what their security answers are. And they can try a good 5-10 times, but after a certain amount of times, it'll lock their account for a good, I think, 24 hours, and they won't be able to try again for a while. So if you are getting to, let's say, the 5th to 6th time and it's not working, the next step should be to call the college's admissions or their connect centers or somebody in student services to help them with their password. So at American River College, if we go to the search box on the top right, so let's say I don't remember what it's called. So I put in password help and I click enter and we'll see what comes up, because you never know. So it says learn how to access tech resources, blah, blah, blah. You can also reset your password, set up security questions. That sounds like what I need. So I'll click that. And then there's the help desk, and you can move forward with getting somebody to help you with passwords, or click password management right here. And that's the same page, right? So you just kind of give it a try. If you don't know who to contact, then contact us at the Refugee Career Pathways Program in Los Rios, and we'll direct you to the person. But let's say everything is well in the world and you got your ID number, your password, and you're ready to log in. After you create the password, then it tells you that you have to wait 15 minutes to be able to log in. You don't have to wait. So you can go back to the e-services. You'll go to the homepage of any college, hover over student login, click e-services again, enter your WID number and the password you just created. Okay, and then we sign in. And as a student, this is what you will see. That previous page was my employee profile. All right, so when the student logs in, this is what they see. First thing to pay attention to is the tasks. If there are any outstanding tasks or holds, any hold will prevent a student from registering for classes or dropping classes. So any holds need to be taken care of right away. A lot of the times when the student applies to the college, then they have a select major hold. So they'll just need to click on the hold, select their major, the hold will be gone. Every semester, there is a supplemental enrollment hold. So anyone who started this fall who's going to be continuing for spring, they will have a supplemental enrollment hold that will come out towards the end of November. So they'll just click on that, update their information, submit, the hold will be gone. The holds that are more risky is if somebody owes money to the college, then that hold until it's resolved with the business office, then somebody can register for classes. Okay, so important tasks and holds are right here. Any messages in the message center? On this page in e-services, the messages usually have to do with either enrollment or with financial aid. And if somebody has a message here, then it's possible that that message could expire. Okay, so any messages that are here, you need to read them right away. I'll go to the bottom. If somebody did their financial aid, they did their FAFSA, applied for the FAFSA, then once the college receives it, the information from the FAFSA will be here in financial aid, and somebody will be able to see how much they're eligible for. Okay. So usually when you're helping a client, then they have already met with a counselor and they're ready to register for classes. But a lot of the times they don't know what classes to register for. The counselor said, I'll put this stuff on your ed plan. What does that mean? Usually when you click on academic records, and don't mind my grades from back in the day, then on the left here where it says student ed plan, this is where whatever the counselor said, wrote, and told the client, this is where it'll appear. So academic records and then student ed plan. The other important thing here is if you have, let's say, an ESL student and they say, maybe the ed plan says take ESL classes, but doesn't say which ones. Then you go into placements. If somebody took the ESL assessment, then their placement into the classes will be here in placements. And it'll tell you which level of ESL, which level of math you will need to take. So those are the important things here. So that was under academic records. Under profile, if somebody wants to change how their name appears in official school documents or unofficial, you can choose your preferred name in there. So if you have any clients who are fearing for their safety, then have them go into the profile, maybe change their preferred name to something that they would rather be called. Okay, all right, so now we're ready to register. Right, we're going to click on manage classes. And then again, don't mind the things. It's usually when I'm helping students, I'll enroll myself into classes and then I have to drop them. All right, so we're going to click to class search and enroll. So let's say that the counselor met with the student and they said, you're going to be in the certified nursing assistant program. And usually it'll tell you exactly which classes you need to register for. Because I don't have an ed plan, we're going to look up the program and look at the classes together. So I'll go back to the ARC homepage. And then under academics, I'll click programs and majors. And that'll be the same on all the college websites, CRC, FLC, Sac City. So programs and majors. And then certified nursing assistant, just because I remember it is under nursing, but you could also type that into the search and it'll help you find it. So I'm going to scroll down until I find nursing. Nursing and allied health. And then I'll go to degrees and certificates. And it lists the degrees here. So I'm going to scroll down until I see certified nursing assistant. I'm going to keep going. So certified nursing assistant certificate requirements. And it lists the two classes. So the counselor, when they meet with the student, the ed plan will usually list the classes like this. It'll say AH 311, Nurse 100. So I need AH 311. I'm going to copy that, go back to my e-services in this search box, paste that, and hit enter. So then it shows me the options for all the colleges. I'll click ARC since we're sticking with ARC. And then let me just minimize this so I can see everything. Okay. All right, so then what we want to pay attention to here. The list of classes is right here. It says if there are any open seats. Once the class has already started, so this one started in August, and it says open seats, that doesn't mean that that class is still adding people. Once it started, it's a lot. Usually you can add in the first week or two, but nothing past then. So this class was not enrolled in the full 50, but it still went. Okay. So open seats, if it says wait list available, places 19 out of 20, that means you will be the second person of 20 on the wait list. So you'll be number 2 on the wait list, if that makes sense. The other thing you want to pay attention to, the session, 8-week first, full term, 8-week second, that refers to the meeting, the start and end dates of the class. So this 8-week first, that means it starts in August, ends in October. Typically, our full-term classes, they start in August and in December. So it's a 16-week class. And then you could have a first 8-week or a second 8-week. When a client, let's say somebody takes a first 8-week and life happens, they have to drop something, or they take a full-term class and something happens, then they still have the opportunity to add a second 8-week class. If it's open, then they'll be able to just go for it and enroll. If it's waitlisted, they could waitlist for the class. Or if it's completely closed, they could still email the instructor and get a permission number to add. So let's assume that I'm going to go for a second 8-week class. So I'll click on this number 6 right here. I need to click anywhere except for the blue link. If I click on the blue link, then it just shows me the information for the class. It doesn't let me enroll in the class. I need to click anywhere but that. And then I read to make sure everything's still the same, meeting dates are the same. When the days and times say to be announced, that means it's online. And then we click next. So I just need to go through steps 1 through 4 in order to enroll in the class. If a class already started and somebody has a permission number for the class, let's say somebody was waitlisted on the second 8-week class, and on the email the instructor gave them a permission number. They're going to need to go to their e-services, drop the class first, and then re-add it with the permission number. Okay, so drop the class first, then re-add it with the permission number. So right now I don't need it because the class hasn't started yet. I click accept. And then do I wish to enroll in the class? Sure. Click next. Just double check that everything is still the same and submit. I sure yes. So now if I go to view my classes, then there's my class. So you see days and times says to be announced. That usually means it's online. Oops, my bad. And then the times when it says 1 a.m. to 1 a.m., that means the class meets fully online, asynchronous. So it doesn't have a specific time that you have to be in class. You just do the classwork every week and you turn it in at the deadlines that the instructor has set. If it would be synchronous, which means that the class would meet at specific times during the week, it would list the time. It would say something like Tuesday, Thursday, 9 a.m. online. Okay. So now I need to drop this class, right? So you have some students who need to drop classes. So on over here on the left, or let's say back from the student homepage, I'm going to click Manage Classes one more time. I'm going to click Drop Classes. Check mark the class. If they have more than one, make sure they don't check mark the ones that they're not supposed to drop, because it'll be really hard to add back. Click Next and drop classes. They can choose a reason. I will just submit. Okay, never mind, it can submit. Submit. Confirm, yes. Okay, so this is if you are helping the student while you can see their e-services. Let's say you want to help a student and you can't see their e-services, but you want to just kind of help them on the side. You don't have an e-services account, but you still want to know what classes are open, what times they start, and things like that. I will show you a different way to look up classes. And again, from the homepage of any of the colleges, we're going to hover over academics, click class or search class schedules. All right, where we were at programs and majors, the next button, search class schedules. Okay, so here I need that AH311 class. I type that in, hit enter. So you'll see the filters are pre-made, or I can clear the filters. Right now it's set for ARC, only open classes, and then that part. So then here, if I uncheck the open classes, then I can see all of them. It tells me the session of the class, 8-week first, second. It tells me if it's open, wait list. So again, if it says 18 places available, you will be the third person on the wait list. Okay, so just a heads up on that. Then the other thing to pay attention to when you're helping students, let's say we want this class and I want to know a little bit more about the class. A lot of you are asking, what is the level of English that somebody needs to be in the class? So this class, if you read through it, the prerequisite would be something that's required to take the class before they take it. So that would be an absolute requirement. If you don't have the prerequisite, you cannot take the class. And then sometimes there are advisory. So this one doesn't have either. So it doesn't tell you if you need any level of English to be able to take this class. So technically any student could enroll. If we look up one of our early childhood education classes, which is what a lot of your students will be taking. So let's look at, see there's an 8-week second intro to early childhood education. So any of your clients could potentially still enroll in this. I'll click on the class. No prerequisite, like we said already. Advisory. So it says eligible for English reading and so on. The counselor will help the student understand what all of this means. So English writing 300 is the first level of regular English for someone to take at the college level, or ESL levels right here. Okay, so that's something to pay attention to. Okay. So for me, this part is easier because I can just look it up and then tell the student what class to enroll in without having them search for the class. When I do that, for me, what's easier is to tell them this 5-digit code. So let's say I want somebody to enroll in this EC 300 class. I see that it's open. And instead of walking the student through the entire time, of course, if we have time, we should walk the student through so that they know how to do it. But let's say we're just crunched on time and I need them to enroll. Then I tell them this 5-digit code. I'm going to copy it and go back to my e-services, click manage classes, class search and enroll, paste the 5-digit code. Then it shows me just that class, no other ECE classes. So then I just click on that and I can enroll into it. Okay. All right. So I will pause here. If anyone has questions, follow-up things, you can unmute yourself and let me know. All right, maybe while you think, I have one more thing to cover. So let's say somebody wants to enroll in a class and it's open at Folsom Lake, but not at ARC. And they applied to ARC as a student. When they look up Folsom Lake, I'm gonna give it a try right now. So let's say ECE 300. And then I'll look up Folsom. We'll see if it lets me do it or not. So you see, like right here, I can't click on the class. I can't do anything with the class. So some of your students' clients will have that same problem. If they didn't apply to that college, then they can't automatically just do it. So what they need to do is on the bottom left here, click add another college. And click add another college. They'll choose, let's say, fall 2021 Folsom, pick their major, activate, and then they will automatically be able to add classes at the other college. Okay.
Hey, Olga, just one question. You referred a little bit to being on the wait list, and we've had some cases where we're signing clients up and it's full. I'm sure it varies a pretty good amount per class, but how often are classes dropped? And if we maybe had somebody on a wait list, like 5 students out, maybe a month before the class starts, is it likely that they'd be able to get in? Is there any kind of estimation there?
Yeah, for most classes, if somebody is on the wait list and the number is below 5, they have a really good chance of getting in. If it's a month out, then there will be a couple of days of drop for non-payment. So some students from that class will be dropped because they didn't pay for the class, and then you'll be bumped into the class. And then about a week before school starts, if somebody's still on the wait list, we advise starting to email the professors and asking for a permission number if there are no other options for that class.
Great, thanks so much.
And if it's something like English 300 and there are 20 other sections that are open, the instructor will not approve that wait
Right.
list.
Okay.
All right, other questions? You can just unmute yourself and go for it. All right, I'll give you 1 more minute to think about it, and I'll show you one more thing because I have a list of things that I wanted to show you. Okay, so let's say you have a student who started fall 2021 and the first 2 weeks are gone, so they didn't drop the class because they thought that they were going to do great in it. But now it's I think we're in week 4 or 5, and the student just says, I just can't do it. There's no way. If they drop a class right now, they'll get a W on their record. But even then, it's still important to know all the deadlines. So on the ARC homepage or any college homepage, again, this information will be the same for all the colleges. We'll hover over admissions, click academic calendar and deadlines. And then current semester, fall 2021, we'll just click on that. And then if it's a full term class, let's just look at some dates. So this is one date that I already told you. Last day to drop classes to qualify for a tuition refund. If somebody drops the class on September 4th, they're no longer eligible for a tuition refund, and they have to pay back the money in order to enroll in the next semester. That's always, it's going to become a hold on their account until they pay. So the other date, the important date is day to drop classes without notation on record. So September 5th for this fall was the last day to drop a class, and it will not be on the student's transcript. September 6th, they drop a class, it becomes a W, which stands for withdrawal. Not bad to have a W once in a while, but if a student has more than half of their schedule dropped each semester, then financial aid becomes a problem. And then enrolling in classes for the following semester becomes a problem. They could go on progress probation or other types of probation. And then the final deadline that I want to share with you is the last day to withdraw from classes with a W notation on record. So if somebody drops November 16th, they'll get a W. If they drop November 17th, they will get an automatic F for that class. So that's also an important date. If life happens, if somebody needs to withdraw, they can withdraw, but pay attention to that deadline. Okay. And if you have somebody who didn't drop the classes on time and something happens and maybe they had to go back to their country, anything, life happens, right? Then they could always petition to get that removed from their transcript. And that would be through admissions. All right, so I'll pause again for more questions.
Olga, I just want to double check. So up until this point, you showed us how to select the classes, correct? But not enroll. Is there an actual additional step? Click the button that says enroll.
The one that we did, the AH311, we enrolled in it and then I dropped it. So when we're looking at any classes, once you've, so of course I did the FOC, hold on, let me do an ARC one. Once you're at this point where you can select the class, you click on the class and it takes you to the enrollment process. So once you're done with step 4, you are enrolled in the class.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right, so let's say you have a student, they have a schedule. their classes start this week, next week, whenever. The next step is to know what other things they need to log into. Right? So from the home page, when we have our student login, these three are all important. So eServices is where we registered for classes. Plus Use Gmail is where a student can receive all kinds of emails. It's their official email account. It'll be W, their ID number, at apps.losrios.edu. I'll put that in the chat. The W ID number, apps.losrios.edu. I'll put that in the chat for you. And that's the email that they have to check. The instructors could email to that. All kinds of people can email to that. Okay, and then the other one is Canvas. The Canvas is where the student will do their homework, where the class will actually happen. So they'll have a page where they do their WID number, the same password as for eServices. So once somebody starts in the district, that password, username and password is for everything. Okay. They should remember it. We're going to log in. So from this page, you can click on the Gmail, you can click on Canvas, you can click on some more things as an employee. But let's say we're going to go to Canvas. Then any classes a student is enrolled in will appear right here, and they can click on the class, do the work in there. Okay. So from the home page, eServices where we register for classes. Let's use Gmail to check email, Canvas to do the work of the classes. So for eServices, we suggest logging in at least once a week so that any messages that are in there that especially financial aid related, so that the student knows. Let's use Gmail at least a couple times a week. If somebody doesn't like checking this Let's use Gmail, then once you log into the Gmail, you can get it forwarded to your regular account. And then Canvas, log in at least every other day, probably every day since you'll be doing a lot of homework. Okay. All right, and pause for more questions.
Not a question, just wanted to confirm that for all of those three services, Canvas, eService, and Gmail, it is exactly the same login information that students are using, correct?
That's correct. Mm-hmm. Do we want to see how to buy textbooks or how to look up textbooks? Okay. All right, so let's go back to my schedule in eServices. We're going to pretend I'm enrolled in these classes. I'm dropped, but it's okay. So the one way to do it is to click straight from the schedule in eServices. And we'll see if it works. So it shows me the classes that I'm enrolled in and the textbooks that are required. And if I wanted to, I could buy them straight from here if I'm buying them at the bookstore. Okay. The other option is to copy this ISBN number. And this is where I can go to things like our favorite Amazon, paste that ISBN number and see if the book is available. So there's the price for a new book, $87. And here it was not the same price. Okay. So from the schedule, you can just click that. If you don't have the student's schedule and you can't just click it, but you wanted to look up the book on the student's behalf, then if you just go to the bookstore website, how do you find it? I don't know, let's just look at it. Type in bookstore and see if it pops up. So there we are at the same page. We click textbooks on the top. And then here, if you know where the college is going, maybe they printed their class schedule for you, but you can't really click from their class schedule. But American River College, fall 2021, select department, AH, Allied Health, 311. It automatically populated for me. If it was another class, it probably would have let me choose the number for it. And then that 5-digit code that we talked about earlier, that's where it comes in very important because every instructor could be using a different book. So we want the exact 5-digit code that is on our schedule. So if I go back to my class schedule, my 5-digit code is 11574. Go back to my bookstore, 11574. Let's say I have more than one class. So let's look up English writing. This is where the numbers are starting to be important. So let's say it's 300. And then you see the 5-digit code. And all of these instructors could be using different books. So I choose the one that I need. So as many classes as you need, you just enter them in there, find materials for the 2 courses. And there we go again. So if a book says it's required, that means they will for sure use the book in the class. If it's optional, they will likely use maybe a page from the book, if that. Or it's just an advisory reading. So that's how we look up textbooks. And I'll pause for questions. All right, do you all want me to show you anything else? Because I think I'm out of ideas at this point.
I just have one clarifying question. I'm sorry about that, but this is regarding a specific textbook. It's really great how you showed us to search a book by class, but also one of our students is registered in this particular class, AH311, and the book is very different. And when you pulled all of the books that we needed, it didn't quite pull. So does it mean that the number might not be the same as we need? Because the book is actually called Medical Language Terminology or something along those lines. So what could be?
I think this is a different instructor. I think you're talking about the one with Ingrid, right?
Yes, Exploring Medical Language. Is it okay to just give it another example? Was that particular class?
Yeah, let me look up that class. I think we're talking about that second 8-week with Ingrid Marr, right? We're gonna go class search, page 11. Oops. I'm gonna undo the open so that I can look up exactly the one. First, week, second. So there's Ingrid Marr. The 5-digit code is 19324. I'm gonna go back to here, go back to textbooks and start from scratch. Delete that. 19324. Find materials. Is it a different book?
So this is the same book that pulled last time, but the students sent us a completely different ones through their account. So
okay, it's possible. You would hope that instructors put the right book, or maybe the instructor is allowing an older version or older edition of the book. Usually the syllabus for the class will have the most accurate information.
Okay, so just double check the syllabus for all of the needed material.
Yeah, if somebody's buying a new book, then I would suggest not opening the plastic material until you get the syllabus and see exactly what book you need. Because with the plastic still intact, you can return the books.
Okay, thank you.
All right, other questions? All right, cool. All right, so just a few reminders when I'm helping students, then I'll walk them through all this. They're registered for classes. I will, if we're in person, I'll have them print their class schedule so they have it in front of them. I will circle the dates and times for when the classes are starting. I'll highlight if they're on the wait list, and then write notes on the bottom of 1 week before class, email instructor for permission number. Or if it's already 1 week before the class or the classes have started, then I will have the student in that moment sit down and write the emails to their instructors asking for a permission number. So usually you'll go through the steps with the students, and like you do with everything else, you create a to-do list for them of today you need to follow up on financial aid. Whatever other date, pay for classes, whatever other date, meet with the counselor, just kind of write all of those things down. One thing that we have that we'll be sending you over probably next week or this week is a checklist for new students. And I think that'll be a good reference for you to know what other steps the student still needs to complete. All right. And last call for questions. All right, great. I will stop the recording.